Now, when we look at the phase 3, now here usually I'm referring to the adults, the senior boys or senior girls. Now, when we are taking class for this age group, now here you will notice a different reaction, a different way of listening, listening to you, because here the boys, when we look at phase 1 and 2, phase 1 we are usually referring to the young one. The phase 2 are around age group of 12 to 14. Now when we are referring to the phase 3, now here in the first point I'm referring to perfecting peak performance. Now when we are referring about perfecting, it cannot be achieved in one session, but your job as a coach is to know that you achieve something out of every session. Now, perfecting peak performance, that why I'm trying to come here using the word peak performance. Every boy does not perform in the same pace in one session. Maybe the starting 5 minutes is good for him, or maybe the last ending 5 minutes is good for him. Now, as a coach, when he is performing in the first quarter of the session, he is performing well, and you find the same boy is doing bad in the last part of the training session. Now you have to understand whether why he is not being able to perform. Now, as a coach, you need to understand in this way. Maybe he doesn't have the strength to continue, or maybe if he is performing on the last part of the session, maybe he's a slow learner. He's taking time to come up, open up, and then perform. Now, as a coach, we cannot achieve everything, but if we, like I was mentioning in the phase 2, we need to take note of the smallest and slightest thing that is going around you, so that in the next session, when they come, when the boys come, you can make them realize of what has actually happened or how much they have achieved and improved in the last session. But it has to be practically connected to each other. For example, when you are saying the boy has done, you are praising the boy in such a way that he has played very well last match, but this game, this training session, he is not doing well. Now what the boy will feel, even the boy after every training session, he'll be going back home, he'll be discussing with his parents or his friend circle that the coach was praising me today, that I have done very well, but next day when I came to the training, the coach was totally different. He's saying that I cannot perform the tasks properly. Now there, if that kind of situation arises in the pitch, now the boy will lose his focus, his concentration on the pitch. Now you must, as a coach, you must be very careful when you choose your words. You cannot just simply go on praising them again and again. Of course you need to do that, but there should be a limit, and then it has to be realistic, so that in the next session when he comes back, then he's willing to play, willing to listen, willing to run for all those things will be there. Okay, and then stabilizing peak performance. Yeah, that was the same thing I was trying to say. One day he has done well, and the next day he has gone down. So you need to, as a coach, we need to choose our word carefully, and then making them realize that every day, every training, they are learning, which you need to put it into practical, and then you need to make them happen, and then make them realize. For instance, scoring the goal. He has scored goal in 2-3 goals in the last training session, and then he is not being able to do that. Now how you are going to balance it? Maybe you can play a small-sided game after the end of each session, and then put him in a situation where he can really do well, where he can complete your objective. All those things are different sort of trainings you can think. Now under this stabilizing peak performance, I have written a small line as introduction of formation. Now introduction of formation, now what formation, they are very excited to know when we play a match, the kids are very excited to know what formation we are going to play. Coach, Barcelona plays 3-5-3, all those shows they see on TV. So they will also want to know that. So as a coach, you must also have inputs of what is happening around, so that according to that you choose how they should play. And then when they start playing in that formation, now you cannot just put a left footer guy on the right side and then make him do a right cross, all those sort of things, new things, which is not habituated for him. You should discourage that. Of course, you need someday a left footer will always come and play on the right, but that is depends upon situation. And once the kids adapt to that, the kids will automatically perform to it. But when you are trying to stabilize one's performance, I think repetitively you need to make him play on that particular part where he is good at and where he can deliver. Otherwise, sometimes training sessions, most of the time the kids follows and then does exactly what you want them to do. But when you introduce them into the game, now the scene is totally different. So these things you need to balance. As a coach, you need to set aside the different roles and responsibilities there. Now, giving them a group task. Now, as a group task, what I mean is like, when you are playing an 11v11 side, and then you are just focusing on 4 or 5 boys. No, it's not like that. Say an example, when opponent is attacking us from their left flank. Now, what the players on the right flank should do? Now you need to give them a specific role individually. When opponent teams are coming with the ball on the right, now left, on our right, now you need to do that. The fourth player need to delay him, and then the other players must, the defending players must, take your defensive position. But where, how, and when, and how can it be done? So everything must be rehearsed so that they understand exactly what you are referring to them when they were training, and then what actually is happening in the ground, so that they understand and they will be able to deliver. For instance, if things are not working out for them, but you need to make them visualize them that, oh, this was the role I have given to you, but this is what you have done. So in the next training or in the next game, whenever we have a match or whenever we play, now that was the last match you have done that. So this time you must not miss that. You must stick to plan. You must stick to what your friends and what the team, and then how the team wants to play. This is how you should go on. Now, as a coach, you need to balance them. You need to bring them together, encourage them. Sometimes they do mistake, but instead of scolding, you can, use other ways to, reach to them. I was talking about the 3 phases. Now, in that 3 phases, one moment is happening each time they are playing. Now, here I would like to take some time to introduce the 4 moments of the game. Now, I was emphasizing on a team earlier in phase 3, that when we have the ball, what do? Obviously, we go to attack the opponent's goal to score the goal. Now, here, the moment which I'm referring are, as you can see on the slide, the first one is on top is the attacking. Now, the 4 moments which we are discussing now is when we have the ball and then all of a sudden we lose the ball. Now, what is our role? Now, obviously, we will defend. Now, when we are defending, now the word transition is used, is like how quick you can change from attacking behavior to defending behavior. Same as that, when we are defending and then once we win the ball, now the same behavior, once we win the ball, how we are going to attack or how we are going to switch to attacking. Now, that's why we are using the word here, transition. Now, as you all know, football has become, is played very fast. The game has developed such that, kids, winning team, if we see there are a lot of attacking moves, and then defending moves are there. But most of the time when the goals are scored, it is either by build-up, attacking, or it is done after winning the ball. So let us quickly check. Now, when we are referring to that, when we are saying aim of attacking, now there are so many things here we can discuss, but I'm trying to elaborate in a very simplest form. Aim of attacking, when we have the ball, the force job for each and everyone in my team is to build up. Build up like how? Running to space to receive the ball, running in between the defenders, to create space to receive the ball, or make space, make way for the attacker with the ball, the boy who is having the ball. Now, in order to do that, we need to quickly, move our way, quickly find our space, so that the defending team doesn't have time to react. Now, when we have the ball, we don't want to quickly lose the ball. That's why we keep possession of the ball. And at the time when the player with the ball is with the ball, now the other attacking teammates has to quickly find space to receive a pass, or making space for the attacker to move ahead so that we can score goal. Hope that is short and clear. Now I want to touch a bit of defending. As you can all see in the slide, it's been written as disturb the build-up of the opponent. How exactly practically it has been done. Now, first thing, when the player loses the ball, the first thing when he is transitioning himself from attacking to defending is to disturb the build-up of the opponent. Now, how he can do that practically? By coming in between, like blocking the path, making him no room to move ahead, or maybe trying to push him into one corner. Now, it all depends upon situation. But as a coach, in order to achieve these things, these trainings must be designed, practiced, and this has to be rehearsed repetitively, so that actually when the situation is ahead, you can react to it, so that at the end of the day, the kids don't say the coach has never taught us, that he has never done this kind of trainings, and then how we are going to do this thing when the situation arises. So as a coach, we must be prepared, and then according to that, we need to design our training, make plans, and how to go about it. Now, the force opponent, this is the role of the force defender. Disturb the pathway of the attacker with the ball. Now, the first thing when we do that, we start blocking them, is to do what? We want to recover the ball. Now, immediately we recover the ball, the role will again switch. But before the role switch, now our priority is, when they have won the ball, now we don't want them to go ahead and then score goal at our goal. So we need to do that. Now, the force defender is, the force defender is blocking the pathway of the attacker. Now, the second defender, what is his role? He needs to get close to the nearest opponent where the attacker might pass the ball if he doesn't have any option. Now the same role has to be applied for the third defender. Maybe he's on the far left or far right. Now he has to either check the man, stop the man, or cover the space where the opponent might play the ball. Now all those things, the shape and formation which we were discussing earlier, must be used and must be, must be explained to them properly, their roles and their duties, so that in the actual situation they'll be able to react to it. Now let us quickly look at the general football trends. As you all understand, football has developed in such a way, it has grown very fast. The game has been played very fast, and then the way they run, the pace, each player who goes for attack, he needs to again come back to hold his position. All those things, physically demand, all those things have been developed. But there are some things which we can, as a coach, we can help them develop the young players. Like earlier we discussed regarding the four movements. Now once you are attacking, once you lose the ball, you have to switch your role to defending. Now all those things are evolving, so you may need to use some examples, or you need to bring in some players. You can tell them that, see, this boy is a defender, but when he gets the ball, he goes for attack, and then once he loses or he finishes his role, he comes back to his position. All those things, a coach must make them understand, the boys. Otherwise, when we see, usually some of the players, they don't want to run. Whenever they have the ball, they play, and whenever they don't have the ball, they don't play. So all those things you need to be very careful, and then you need to make them say, when you lose the ball, you have another role, you need to defend. All those things you must design in your training, so that without you saying anything, whenever the situation is that, you can make them realize, okay, oh, once I lose the ball, I have to do that. All those things is a coach role and our responsibility to teach the boys, because they themselves don't understand what they are doing in the pitch until unless we guide them properly. Of course, when you are guiding younger boys repetitively, you can make them realize, make them think, bring back their good good moments in your training session. See, you have done that very well, and then of course you are not being able to do today, but was that a problem with you in with you, or is there some, why you are hesitating to do so? All those things has been seen and done. So a coach must understand all those factors. It is not a single event and single action where you can judge a person, but as a coach, you must understand the overall development, what is actually happening, how the boys are progressing. So these are some few things I wanted to share. And then as you all know, and I was mentioning earlier, the game has been played so fast. The pace of the game is so fast that even the assistant referees on the sidelines and the referees, they're struggling to come back to their positions. Just for an example, when we look at the recent Euro Cup, there was own goal score. There were a lot of situations that own goals have been scored. Now, to my understanding, the own goals has been done because the ball, the crosses, the delivery has been done in such a pace that it looks like a shot taken at the goal itself, where the opponent defenders and the goalkeepers, hardly have time to react to it, because nobody feels like, will take a shot from the flank. So these are some few examples which I wanted to bring in, and then of course there are some rules and regulation are all the same as per the laws of the game. Nothing has been changed, but you can see some extra stoppages happening in the pitch in the quarter of the, I mean, like the half of the first half of the game. Now, actually, why they are introducing them is like after retirement, the professional footballers, they have a tendency to have injuries. So that to avoid that in the future, they are allowing the players to rehydrate themselves as much as possible during the game, so that these kind of injuries are not carried forward in their later part of their retiring stage, because a lot of fluid is being lost in the game, so that in order to save the players later on, now FIFA has changed, modified a few rules where they want to take care of the players. It doesn't mean they want to slow down the momentum and pace of the game, but they are thinking about the players' safety, so that they have enough time to freshen up, and then re come back to the previous stand and then perform properly. Yeah, and then there are some few things which has been changes. I mean, change of substitute players and all those things, but all of these has not been taken place in all the tournaments, but very few are being slowly implemented in the real match. there are there are some more slight modification has been done, but which are not that clear and practical for all the affiliated federation. So I will not jump to any conclusion through it, but just wanted to highlight one or two, that has been seen in the last UEFA Cup, Copa America, all those tournaments. So I think from here I will stop, and then thank you.